Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang with Morsels of a Thought, number 1708. Today it is Friday, and we are reading Brain Rescue, a 90-day blueprint to reclaim your memory after a brain injury or concussion by Dr. Brody Miller. And he is active on Instagram. You can find him there. He's there every day, almost every day, doing something with his graphs and hands and exercises for the brain. Oh my gosh. The seventh step. We are in chapter 7, the fourth pillar, which is O is for optimize, OPTIMIZE. Now we are in the seventh step is Z for zero distractions. In the age of distraction, focusing on one thing is a superpower, says James Clear. James Clear is clear. So, author Dr. Brody Miller says, listen up. If you want to rise above the noise in this chaotic world, you need to embrace the concept of zero distractions, capital capital Z, capital D. In 2025, we are living in a fast-paced world where notifications and interruptions lurk around every corner. I got this book in March. The ability to, from his wife Rocio, the ability to focus deeply on a single task is the most important thing you can do to set yourself apart from the rest of the world. Let me tell you something. Productivity isn't about how much work you can grind away, it's about the quality of what you produce. When you focus on only one activity at a time, your productivity will skyrocket. Focus is key. In a world that glorifies busy work, you need to flip the script. When you commit to deep focus, you'll not only maximize your productivity, you will maximize your brain power. The neuroscience of focus and memory. Here's the scoop on focus. Your brain is like a well-organized team, with each part playing a unique role to help you concentrate, make decisions, and stay on track. Focus is like a symphony, with different brain regions and neurotransmitters playing harmoniously to help you concentrate, make decisions, and excel. There are 9 parts here. The prefrontal cortex, is the strategic coach guiding your decision making and keeping you on task. The anterior cingulate cortex, cingulate is spelled with a C, your internal motivator pushing you through challenges. That must be a big one for the men. Parietal lobe, the spatial awareness expert, ensuring you stay grounded in your environment. The thalamus is the gatekeeper, filtering distractions to keep your focus razor sharp. The basal ganglia, the taskmaster, ensuring you stay consistent and on track. The amygdala is the emotional powerhouse influencing whether your feelings enhance or hinder focus. The hippocampus is your memory vault, holding on to key information. The insula in Latin means island, is the bridge between feelings and attention, helping you prioritize. The cerebellum, which means little brain, says Dr. Brody. The cerebellum is the precision engineer, fine-tuning actions for optimal results. Now, we are reading Brain Rescue, a 90-day blueprint to reclaim your memory after a brain injury or concussion by Dr. Brody Miller. We're in Morsels of a Thought. Morsels of a Thought of hopefully wisdom borrowed from people who are very wise is a way to find out the right thing to do for ourselves. Like, for example, if you've ever conked your head really hard, like I have. And when you know the right thing to do, you've got wisdom. Then, when you do it, that's called committing acts of virtue. Virtue. We're bringing more virtue into the world with morsels of a thought. Who would have thought? So, Dr. Brody says, wow, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, right? Studies from the University of California show that office workers are typically interrupted every 11 minutes, yet it takes 25 minutes for them to refocus. Imagine the compounding effect of reducing these interruptions. When you focus with zero distractions, you're not just finishing today's to-do list, you're getting closer to your dreams. By focusing deeply, you'll make consistent progress on what truly matters. Every time you get distracted, your brain is forced to switch to something else, and that wastes a lot of precious energy. Not to mention that I can forget my sentences. This is called context switching. Context switching. Every time you get distracted, your brain is forced to switch to something else, and that wastes a lot of precious energy. This is called context switching, and it can take a really long time to fully get your brain back to where it was, making it a silent productivity killer. And there's a footnote 37. Many people still think multitasking is productive, but research shows it reduces efficiency by up to 40%. Footnote 38. Real productivity comes from doing one thing at a time with undivided attention. Multitasking and task switching can be helpful to brain health and survival, but not when it comes to focusing and doing your best work. If you reduce distractions and work on one thing at a time, you'll see your productivity and focus grow. You'll build momentum, get closer to sharpening your memory, and achieving your goals. So, take charge of your time. Focus on one task. Get rid of as many interruptions as possible, and watch how you move toward the life you've always wanted. Focusing is your superpower, so use it to your advantage. TOT.90 for max productivity. Number one, schedule it. Set a specific time for your focused work session. Treat it like an important meeting or appointment. Put it in your calendar, set a reminder, and commit to showing up. Having a clear time frame helps ensure that you're not rushing or procrastinating. I have a trick, which is when I show up, I am seated in that seat, in that chair. That's my way. Number two, clear the space. Eliminate all distractions and noises from your environment before you start. Put your phone in another room, close all unnecessary apps or tabs or apps, tidy up your physical workspace. Make sure if you have kids that they don't distract you either. Put on noise canceling headphones for an added effect. Number three, do it. Refocus constantly. Now, when he said to put on the headphones, it also helps that it will kind of encourage the kids not to interrupt when they see the headphones on you. So that's a good way. Number three, refocus constantly. Start your task and commit to staying focused for the full 90 minutes as much as you possibly can. When distractions or stray thoughts pop up, and they will, gently refocus your mind back to the task. Acknowledge the distraction, but don't engage with it. The key is to stay persistent and keep returning your attention to the work. Number 4, reward yourself. Once your 90-minute focus session is complete, give yourself a reward. It could be a short break, a treat, or something you enjoy. This not only gives you a mental reset, but also reinforces the habit of staying focused, making it more likely you'll repeat it the next time. This strategy will help skyrocket your productivity and will put you ahead of 95% of the population that is constantly distracted. Remember, practice makes progress, not then permanent. Practice makes progress then permanent. The eighth step in O is for optimize. The eighth step is E for emotions. Nicholas Sparks says, the emotion that can break your heart is sometimes the very one that heals it. Emotions, energy in motion, are among the most powerful forces in your recovery and life. All the effort to optimize your brain will be meaningless if you don't intently focus on creating positive emotions. Why? Because the quality of your recovery, your memory, your focus, and ultimately your life is a direct reflection of the quality of your emotions. Think about your day to day life. Have you noticed that certain emotions seem to dominate no matter what happens? The fact is, most of us experience the same 5 or 6 core emotions regularly, regardless of the external circumstances. Maybe it's frustration when you forget where you put your stuff at a coffee shop, or the anxiety that pills up when you can't focus at work. This is like your emotional default setting, quote, end quote, or personal home base, default setting. No matter how far you stray, whether experiencing a fleeting moment of joy or a surge of anger, you always seem to return to these familiar emotional states. These feelings form your emotional home. They are the set of emotions you naturally return to day by day. No matter how far you go away, you will always find your emotional home. The exciting truth is that your emotional home doesn't have to be permanent. It can be redesigned, just like you might renovate your physical home. By understanding and working with your emotions, you can create a more stable, positive foundation that supports your healing and empowers your recovery journey. The purpose of negative emotions. Next. Think of emotions as neither negative or positive. They just are. Even the emotions that feel the most terrifying and brutal serve an underlying purpose. Fear and anxiety, for example, are like your brain's internal alarm system, sharpening your focus to potential threats. Even frustration can be a force that propels you to change things you don't like in your life. But living in these emotions for too long can become draining, like trying to swim in stormy waters for days on end. That's why it's important to foster balance by actively creating emotions like gratitude, hope, and joy, which help calm your nervous system and allow your brain to heal. Riding the emotional waves. Emotions are like waves in the ocean that come and go. They are natural, ever changing, and unavoidable. Sometimes the waves are calm, coming gently at your feet. while others are violent and turbulent, crashing into you with an intensity that can leave you gasping for air. Imagine you're out in the ocean of your mind. The waves represent your emotions, frustration, sadness, anxiety, and even joy. You can't stop these waves from forming, and you sure as hell can't control their size or timing. But you can learn how to navigate them, to ride them rather than trying to fight against them. When the water is choppy, your first instinct may be to resist. But trying to fight the waves is exhausting and futile. Throwing rocks at the ocean will laugh at you. It will only pull you deeper into the tide. Instead, you can choose to acknowledge the waves as they are and choose to focus on using them to your advantage. Even the most skilled surfers fall sometimes. There will be moments when the emotional wave feels too big and will drag you under. That's okay. The key is to refocus, take a deep breath, and get back on your board. Each time you practice, you will become stronger, more courageous, and more skilled at navigating the highs and lows. We are reading Morsels of a Thought of wisdom borrowed from Dr. Brody Miller in Brain Rescue, a 90-day blueprint to reclaim your memory after a brain injury or concussion. Have you ever conked your head? I have. We have to use words of wisdom. We want to know the right things to do for ourselves as well as for others. That is wisdom, knowing the right thing to do. Then actually doing it is called acting out of virtue. That is virtue. So we're going to add virtue to the world, and we're starting with our brain today, which is the Brain Rescue, which is a blueprint. Here we are. Now, emotions and your healing. Dr. Brody is on emotions and your healing. Here's the fascinating part. He says, the way you handle these emotional waves has a direct impact on your brain's ability to heal itself. Positive emotions like gratitude and love trigger the release of neurotransmitters such as dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, which enhance neuroplasticity. By cultivating positive emotional waves and learning to gracefully navigate the stormy ones, you're not only improving your quality of life, but actively rewiring your brain to support focus, memory, and resilience. Become the master surfer in 3 steps. Learning to ride the emotional waves doesn't mean avoiding or suppressing them. In fact, suppression often makes the waves stronger and more unpredictable. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It will eventually burst back up with force. Instead, embrace the waves with curiosity and acceptance. When you feel a surge of frustration, pause and ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? What is this emotion trying to tell me? And if you have a cold, what is it emotion trying to tell me? Yeah, that's in case you have a cold. Yeah, don't know where that came from. By observing rather than reacting, you allow the wave to pass naturally. 3 practical strategies to master emotional surfing. Number 1, practice awareness. Check in with yourself throughout the day. Close your eyes and ask, what am I feeling right now? Naming the emotion without judgment helps you step back and understand it. Anchor yourself, number 2. When the waves feel overwhelming, ground yourself with a calming practice, such as deep breathing or visualization. Imagine you're on a surfboard, staying steady as the water moves beneath you. Now, when he says the part about naming the emotion without judgment. There was a priest who came to our shelter one day to give us a bit of a lecture. I don't recall his name. He was a reverend, and he gave us a lecture about seeing, observing, describing, and judging as several different steps. So when you see something, you just see it without thinking about it. When you describe something, you see it and you make note of all its characteristics. When you observe it, observe it, you realize what it is doing. And then judging it is really thinking, is this good or bad? So there are several steps, and I'm not familiar with all of them. I can't teach you about them, but I know that there exist different steps between seeing something or doing something and judging it. Okay? So that's all I wanted to say there to add into number one. Number two is anchor yourself. When the waves feel overwhelming, ground yourself with a calming practice such as deep breathing or visualization. Imagine you're on a surfboard, staying steady as the water moves beneath you. Number three, cultivate calming waves. Actively create emotions like gratitude, hope, and joy. These emotions act like gentle tides, soothing the nervous system and creating the optimal environment for your brain to heal. When you can imagine things that make you feel gratitude, hope, and joy. That's when you bring those memories in on purpose. The doctor says, referring back to the main point. Everyone reading this has the freedom to channel all your emotions into positive action. Take those suggestions however you will, but these are a bit general, but generally good suggestions. Depressed about your situation? Change it. Mad? Harness your anger enough to force change. Angry about the economy? Go to the gym. Every one of your emotions can be channeled into positive action in the world. Every emotion is simply fuel to propel you to the highest level of success. Therefore, there are no real bad emotions, only bad use of emotions. Remember, becoming a master surfer takes practice. Some days the ocean will feel calm and manageable. On other days, it may feel wild and relentless. But each time you ride a wave, you're building strength, balance, and confidence, key skills for reclaiming your brain's potential and creating the life you deserve. I think this particular part needs to be reviewed and replayed because this is a very emotional part. My emotions seem to follow things around, and I have to bring myself back to be able to remember where I am and what I am doing. Next week, we will read chapter 8, the fifth pillar. U is for unleash. UNLEASH. And the first step is U for unconscious brain. That will be next week on page 145. Okay? Brain Rescue is a life-changing guide packed with cutting-edge neuroscience. It's a beacon of hope, says John Assaraf, two-time New York Times best-selling author. So, our author is Dr. Brody Miller. Look him up on Instagram. Okay? Talk to you later. Old Kinderhut.